The transfer window opens for Galatasaray 1 week from today. What positions do we need to sign, and who can fill those positions? We're going to tell you what we think on the Galatasaray Show. Welcome back to the Galatasaray Show. I'm Brad. This is Serkan. Herkes hoş geldiniz.
Merhaba.
All right, we are here with part one of our transfer special. Like I said in the opening, the window opens in 7 days, and boy, do we need some help. I know we're in first place, and we're right now qualified for the Champions League, and we're won our Turkish Cup game, but we really do need help. But before we get into that, let's thank our sponsor, ClassicSoccerShirts.com. Now this weekend they're having a big sale. With our code you usually get 10% off. This weekend they're giving you 25% off 2025 and 2026 range shirts and 20% off all other products. So for example, Mesela, you would get 25% off the Haji Christmas holidays New Year's sweater, or this Milan Barish jersey. Milan was at our last game. You would get 20% off of it. And yes, they have actual fan-used shirts people have sold to them. So if you're looking for something like this, you can hop on there, and if they have it in your size, you can get it 20% off. So pretty good. That goes from, started yesterday, started on the 26th, and it'll go through the 28th. So tomorrow. So if you're watching this on Sunday, hurry up and order. And our code won't work this weekend because the sale is better than our code. But be sure to click the affiliate link in our description to take you to the site if you want to support the show. All right. Before we talk about the transfers that we're going to get, we need to talk about the Turkish Super League's transfer rule for foreign players. It's so easy to understand, isn't it, Serkan?
Sure, yeah, it's not as easy as we think. It's super complicated. So TFF made it super complicated. So I'm gonna go over those rules. Then after that, we can talk about the transfers that we need to make. So for the 2025-2026 season, the Turkish Super League season, Super League clubs can register up to 14 foreign players. That's what we already know, right? But at least two of those players must be in the young category. So there's a category called young, okay? And those are the players defined as players born on or after January 1st, 2002. So it used to be 2003, but in the beginning of the season, TFF made a change and they said, well, you know what? It's 2002, not 2003. So there's a fine print right in the bottom. It says, once a foreign player is registered as a young foreign, the club may continue to register and use that player for up to 2 additional seasons, even after the player no longer meets the age requirement. So let's give an example. Let's say that we happen to transfer a player in the midseason, right? So January 2nd comes, we transfer a player. So we can play him up to 2.5 years. So a half year from January 1st, January 2nd to the next transfer window, then we can play him up to 2 additional years. So this is an opportunity. We should jump on this opportunity before it passes. Because if
so
we
you
don't
could
make
sign
those...
somebody at the upper edge of that, then by the next season he would no longer count technically as a young player, but he
Right.
still would for 2 more seasons. So we could be playing at this point, pretty experienced player who still counts as a young player.
Exactly. In fact, that's what Fenerbahce did. So Fenerbahce transferred Nene and one other player, the left back, Archie Brown.
Archie Brown.
Yes. So that's why they transferred those two players. I think they were born in 2002, so they're kind of, yeah, they are eligible for this rule. I'm trying to see how old is Nene? Is it
Well, I
20?
don't know.
Okay. Well, anyway, as much as I know, they both are eligible for this. So Fenerbahce can play them up to 2.5 years. Just because they're not meeting the age requirement doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to play. Since they registered those players ahead of time, they can play up to 2.5 years.
I wonder if they did this rule to kind of help change the image of the league, which is changing already. But, before we were looked at kind of like a retirement league, kind of like the MLS. But if you can bring these younger, more dynamic players, then not only will it give you a better image worldwide, but it's going to give you an opportunity also to make money when you sell them if they develop really well.
It makes sense,
Yeah.
right? I'm not criticizing that rule at all. But things are going to get more complicated next year. So,
Do tell.
well, the requirement for the young players will change as of next year. So, we got to have at least 4 foreign players, and those need to be born on or after January 1st, 2004. So again, it used to be 2. Now we got to have 4 foreign
So they'll be
players. So
22 years
10
old.
plus 4, right? So that brings a challenge to our transfer strategy. The reason that I'm saying this because we have 10 foreign players right now and plus 2 from the young category. Okay. And out of those 10, I don't think we're planning to sell any of those players. So Osimhen is gonna stay, Sane is gonna stay, Singo is gonna stay, Davinson Sanchez is gonna stay, Torreira is gonna stay, Lemina is gonna stay, Sara is staying, right? Jakobs is staying, Shalai is staying. Icardi, his contract is expiring in May, but my understanding is that we're planning to sign a new contract with Icardi. So if we're not planning to sell any players, how are we going to bring new players in mid-season unless they're 22 years old or younger?
We're about to get into that, aren't we?
So again, it is complicated. We cannot just keep throwing names out and say that, well, we got to bring this. Let's bring Neves. Let's bring Andre. Let's bring Umut. That's not gonna happen. We have to approach this strategically, right?
Well, it'll be a deal that you'll see if you're wanting to bring a Neves, you're going to have to sell an Icardi.
Absolutely, we got to do something about it. Again, we're
But
not
then,
planning to sell any players, and we don't want to, honestly.
well, and two, this might be the league's way of trying to motivate teams like ours to play more Turkish-born players.
Right. Or we're not gonna extend Icardi's contract. With that, we can make a room for a new player, and the player that you don't like, Sara, we can send him to that Russian club, Lokomotiv Moscow or Spartak Moscow, and then I don't see any other players. Maybe Jakobs. I know that there's an offer for Shalai, but it's one of the players that we want to keep.
Yeah, we like Schley.
He plays in multiple positions, right?
Now, I like Jacobs, but he does seem to get injured
He's
a little bit
prone
more
to
than
injury, yeah.
others.
So these are the basics of the transfer rules. If I'm missing anything, just let me know. But I got this information from the TFF website, so it should be valid.
All right, so we got that done. Now, the positions that we believe that we need the most are a CDM, a cornerback, midfielder, dynamic winger. Oh, I'm sorry, forward, dynamic forward, and a winger. Got that right?
Right. Yep. Yep.
All right. So the first one we're going to talk about is Andre, from Wolverhampton. Now, why would Andre be available? Have you looked at the EPL standings lately? Wolverhampton is dead last, single digit points. They're already eliminated. So they've got to find a way to like balance their books and when they go down to the championship, and so they've got to sell players.
Right, and they paid him like 27, 28 million euros last year. It's a lot of money. He's a defensive midfielder, right? He plays 6 and 8.
He is. Now he'd be somebody that's going to come in and back up Lamina and then be maybe a 2 years down the road take his position. Because he's kind of like Lamina. He's not a goal scorer. He's a more defensive midfielder. Possession, good passing midfielder.
Right. He played for Fluminense between 2020 and 2024 before he transferred to Wolverhampton. And the transfer fee was about 27, 28 million euros with the bonuses. And I was able to watch a few of his games this year. And I can tell that he has a high game reading ability. And he closes passing lanes, applies pressure at the right moments, which is what we need in the team.
And he's 24, so he's a young player.
He's a young player. Again, he's only 24. We can always buy him and sell him later. We can make some profit off him.
Now the challenge with getting him is, word on the street is Manchester United is interested, as are Juventus and other Italian clubs. Man U would be probably the biggest challenge because it's an easy thing because he's going to move to another team in the league. So he's going to be playing against teams he already knows as opposed to coming to the Super League where it's teams he doesn't know. If I'm that player and the money is the same, I would go to Manchester United, wouldn't you? So we're going to have to hope that Man U targets somebody else or that we're able to outbid them. And my man and yours, Başbakan Dursun Özbek yesterday, what did he say? He goes, money's not a problem. We got the cash. We got the cash, baby.
He's not effective in aerial deals, though. So that's going to become a problem. His first touch skills are good. There's nothing wrong with that. And another disadvantage that I have observed is he does not try long passes. So he's not a risk taker by any means.
And what is he? Is he like 5'11"?
He is 5'11", yes.
But he's fast, so he can.
He's fast.
When he gets the ball, he's not one of these guys that's going to lose it. He can get it and accelerate.
And he plays with like 90% pass accuracy.
And one thing you got to admit, whether you like the league or not, the EPL is a rough league. And so if he can, the fact he's played there is going to help him transition into our league very well and the Champions League as well. Because who's he playing against? Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool. Those are the type of teams we'll see in the Champions League. So that's one of our things that we're talking about. What do we need? We need somebody to help Lamina, because when Lamina's out, the play drops off. And we need somebody we can bring in and the play does not drop off.
So the question becomes, should we prioritize the defensive midfielder area or the attacking line or the right back? Because again, we got to make a decision. With the foreign rule that we have, we cannot bring all these players.
Oh, well, right now we know...
We have to pick one position that we need to prioritize.
Oh, so we have strikers. We don't have any quality depth in the midfield.
That's right. So I guess we're going to invest in the defensive midfielder area.
And so this brings us to the next one that everybody's talking about. Lookman from Atalanta, the dynamic forward Oshaman's friend. And so we would only get this guy if Icardi decides to go somewhere else. But he's a high pace attacking striker, great in transition. Bringing him off the bench, God, what a gift that would be. You take out Osimhen and bring in Lookman?
Right. He's almost 29. I think he just turned 29.
Mm-hmm.
And the club is asking like 50 million, 45 million euros. And his contract, I think it's gonna expire next year. So I don't think that kind of money is justified, given that his contract is expiring and he's 29.
Yeah, what you love about him is that he can play multiple roles in the attack, as far as up the middle as like a 9 or out on the wing. So he can fill multiple roles. Whether if somebody gets hurt, you can start him as a winger, and the performance isn't going to drop off. And again, he's played in Italy, so he's played these type of clubs that we're going to see in the Champions League.
Don't get me wrong.
I mean, let's just be honest. Would you rather have Lookman or Icardi coming off the bench?
The answer is easy, but again, we gotta consider the foreign transfer rules before we bring all these players in.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
I mean, I love talking about Lookman. I love talking about. So there's this French guy that was on the news this morning. He plays for Marsilia. Trying to transfer loan Amina Gurri from Marsilia.
Is that France?
France, yes.
We.
He's 26 years old, but he was injured, and I don't know when he's coming back, fully fit.
We don't.
So
We
that
need
that
people
we
to
don't
play
know.
in January.
I mean, again, we have all these names that we've been talking about, but I don't think there is any point to talk about all of those players without knowing the foreign transfer rule. So
Well,
we
you got to
have
remember
acknowledge
too,
that.
the league rules and the Champions League rules are two different rules.
Right. But how are you going to keep those players fed if you don't play them in the Turkish Super League? How are you going to make them ready for the Champions League?
Well, remember, the team that you have and the squad you bring to the game are two different things. So they could move pieces around. It'd be complicated. It's doable. Is it the smartest thing to do? I don't think so. So that's Lookman. The next one on our list is Ruben Neves. He's at Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. Fun fact, I've been to Saudi Arabia. Nicer than you think.
You told me about it. He's
So
also a defensive midfielder, right?
he is, and he's 28, so he's a little older. He's not a long-term fix. He's a compete now in the Champions League type of player.
And his strengths are passing, long shots, ball interceptions. And unlike Andre, he likes to take long shots from
Yeah,
distance.
he's a deep lying midfielder. He still has great pace, and he can control the tempo of the game. And look, he's got Champions League experience. He's got Portuguese national team experience. So
Which one would you want to go with if that was your decision?
I would take Andre.
Right, he will be a great investment.
Mm-hmm. And do I think we're going to win the Champions League this year? No. Can we compete? Yes. So you pay them because you're going to have to pay out the nose for Neves, right?
Yeah, Neves is a better player all around.
He's gonna be up in the $20 million type of transfer fee.
But yeah,
And so
not gonna be cheap.
you're a team that would pay that to get him thinks they can win the Champions League this year. I don't think we can win this year. You want Andre to get the Champions League experience. Maybe you can win it next year.
And Andre plays for the national team. He appeared 12 or 13 times. So he's a national player as well. National team player as well.
But yeah, Neves, he'd be a great player. I just don't think for where our club is right now, he's the right player.
If we are looking for an exact replacement for Lemina, that will be Andre,
Yes.
not Neves.
All right, then the last one this episode, we're going to go to the back line and stay in the Turkish Super League. Turkish Super League, pitch, missing. We've got Anthony Davis from Göztepe, a center back who could sub in for Davinson. See, not Davidson, Davinson, or Abdul Kerim.
How much information about this guy? So
he's tall, which we like. He's still in his mid-20s, so he's not an older player. I think he's 26. Great with his head, aerial, physical duels. And then, just like we've talked about why Andre would fit in the EPL, he plays for Göztepe. He's played Fenerbahce, he's played Besiktas, he's played Samsun. It'd be an easier transition into the squad, I believe, especially on that back line.
but as of today, I think he's like a plan C, plan D. We want to go for Andre first, maybe Onyedika, maybe Ruben Neves. And then if nothing happens, then we'll invest in.
I don't know. He's going to be a cheaper investment.
Well, it depends. I mean, all these clubs, smaller clubs, they ask for fortune.
Let's see. Yeah, they're looking for. He's 6'3", and they're looking. It's going to be like a $2 to $4 million transfer fee.
They're not gonna let him go for 4 million. When a club like Galatasaray or Fenerbahce or Besiktas wants a player from one of those teams, just double that or triple that amount.
I don't think so. That.
Go for it, and we'll see what happens.
So he'd be by far the cheapest option, and I don't know. Would you rather bring him off the bench in the Champions League or Arda?
I just don't think we're planning to sign any defenders at this time.
I think we need somebody. So
again, it's all about the foreign rules right now, right?
So you think in this window we're not going to sign a central defender? We're going to go with Abdul Kerim. I saw this 2 days ago. He's one of three. He's played every game we've played. Every league game, every Champions League game, and the Turkish Cup game. In addition, he plays every national team game.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. If we happen to transfer Andre or Ruben Neves or Onyedika, then Lemina will play as a center back.
Well, Okan mentioned that as well.
Yep, that's what's going to happen. And with that, I mean, we still have Singo that can play as a right back and center back, right?
He can.
As long
well,
as
then we're talking about the transfer, window
right,
opening.
So if we transfer Andre again, he's gonna fill Lemina's position, and Lemina can play as a center back, and sometimes, in fact, he used to play as a right back in his early.
But remember, Lemina's like 33 years old. The goal with transferring somebody is for Lemina not to play. It's for Lemina to take a game off. Lemina to come out in the 60th minute and play, not drop off. The reason Lemina is getting hurt is he's playing all the time, and he's not 23, he's 33. So we don't need to bring Andre in to bring Lemina back to a defender position. He's still playing every game. So we need to bring somebody in to relieve, because remember, Burkhan's not the key. Burkhan can't do it. So we need somebody that can let Lamina go sit down and rest. Because we can't have him playing. He can't play against Fethiyaspor. He can't play against Istanbulspor in the Cup. And then go play against Atletico Madrid, Man City, Kayserispor, Gaziantep. He can't do it. He'll break down. So you need somebody that can let him rest. At the same time, Abdul Karim doesn't need to be playing every minute of every game. Neither does Davinson. And I think bringing Arda in the league is great. Bringing him in the Turkish Cup is fine. But I don't know if bringing him in against Man City and Atletico or whoever we play in the knockout phases is the right answer. And still, that's only one. That means even if you don't transfer somebody, that means that Davinson or Abdul Karim will still always be out there. You can't get them out.
I agree.
Because there's no one to take their place. And that's what we're saying, that we've been complaining that even when healthy, we don't have a quality enough bench. We've said our starters are here and our bench is here. I love Khan. Khan can't stay fit. I don't know why. He's played like 2 seconds this year. So we've got to bring somebody to give him relief.
Well, if he plays as a center back, I'm talking about Lemina. If he plays as a center back, there will be less pressure and he won't be as tired as before, because playing as a defensive midfielder is a different story.
So if he plays there and Andre takes his position, then when Andre comes out, who comes in?
Lemina.
So Lemina's going to move from the back line to there and play every minute of every game.
Nope. So we usually play with Davinson Sanchez and Abdul Karim, right?
So you're saying let Lamina sit.
Right.
Then sometimes
he can play in some games.
He could come in instead of as relief for Andre. He could come in and let Abdul Karim out.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. We're hitting 2 birds with 1 stone.
Oh, look how nice you are. You just want to hit them. Usually we kill those birds.
Well, I just didn't want to use that word. I just didn't want to kill them. Birds. I didn't want to hurt them. Just hitting them.
I know some birds I wouldn't mind murdering. The canary kind.
I know that you were going to say this. I knew that. But making the long story short, I think Andre or Ruben Neves is the guy that we want.
So again, today's the 27th. This is part 1. We'll have part 2 out next week. And then the transfer window will probably open a day or 2 later. But I'm still not very excited because, again, Okan said we're not selling anybody till after the Man City game, which is like January the 28th. And so that's like a month away from now. And so I joke, but you're going to start signing and bringing players in, right? You do that. I've given this some thought. So you sign these players. You bring in Andre. You bring in whoever you want to bring in to get with the team, with this bloated team. Now, they can't play in the Champions League. They can just play in the league. Then we got to sell these people. So the word on the street is Konya wants Berkan. So if Konya knows we have to sell Berkan, we have to. We cannot keep him on the team. We don't have room. And we need the money. Don't you think, just like you said, that Ghost Tepe, since they know that we want him, they're going to charge more for him than if somebody from Italy was getting him? Don't you think they're going to try to make us get as little as possible for Berkan? We want $10 million.
We're going to terminate his contract. They're not going to pay us anything.
Exactly.
We're going to terminate his contract.
And so
today.
That's why this method doesn't work. If what they say is true, they're going to wait till the 28th after that game, then sell Burkhan, then sell whoever they want, sell Yusuf, then start signing people, and all the people that we want will be gone.
When it comes to sell players, we just don't know what we're doing.
Now, you got to remember, this time last year, we were out. When this window opened, we were out. So we were just signing players to win the league. So there wasn't pressure. We can sell whoever we want to. This year, they know they've got us over a barrel. And so if we're trying to get something for these guys, which we want something for them, and they know we have to sell it, we're going to get hard. We're getting nothing for them. Nothing.
Yeah, we'll just end up terminating his contract and let him go.
And so, but Okan Hoca, if you speak 5 languages, maybe you watch the Galatasaray show. If you are, Burkhan doesn't play in the Champions League anyways. He's lodged 0 minutes in the Champions League. Yusuf did he play in the? He hasn't played, has he?
He played in the Champions League.
He did, and it was a train wreck. He'll never play again. So if we know these players are not going to log any minutes against Atletico or Man City, just sell them now. When the window opens, sell them. Get the Pala. Get it. Para check. Then use it to buy some players. Because remember, by the time the transfer window closes, I think it's the 5th, we'd play a knockout game a week later. A week after the window closes, we play a knockout game. So if you wait till like between the 28th and the 7th to sign your players, are they going to be of any use to you in that knockout game? No. They might be a substitute. Maybe.
Think about last year. We transferred Lemina right before the transfer window closed, and we were not be able to register him because he was not ready. That's what Okan said, right? Okan said that he was not ready to play in the Europe, so we did not register him. Instead, we registered Cuesta because he seemed to be more ready, which was very odd, by the way. I don't take that bullshit, but so we're gonna face the same problem again. I'm telling you, we're gonna wait until the last minute to transfer players, and those are gonna be our excuses.
Hey, you know what's so much fun? Last year in the transfer window, we didn't have this channel. All we could do was just like call each other and complain. This year we have a channel. We can do it publicly.
Right. That's right. That's why we're here today.
So this is part 1 again. Part 1. Tell us your feelings on these players, and if you have players that you think would be a great fit for our club, please comment. Tell us why, and then we'll research it. And if we agree with you, we will feature it on the show. Sound good, Sir Khan?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas to any English or Christmas people that might be watching the channel. And then, again, we'll have one more episode before the New Year. Then we can tell everybody Mulu Yilar at that point, right? All right. Thanks, everybody. Please like, subscribe, follow us on the socials. And hadi, imbuk, CimBom.
Bye-bye.